Ray Bardsley, is that all right?
Yeah.
Ray Bardsley, and I started at Mirrlees in October of 1950. I think that's right. I was at Stockport Grammar School. I hated Stockport Grammar School, and as soon as I got my school certificate results, I started going for interviews, and I was accepted by Simon Carves. I wanted to go to Avro's really, to fly aeroplanes. And then Mirrlees offered a very nice apprenticeship, and it was close to home. So I just started there. And I started in Sammy Moss's place. Sammy Moss, was it? Yeah. In service fitting, just filing corners off stuff. And that was it really, and I went on to that, and did my 5 years, and then went in the army and so on, and came back in the design office, torsional vibrations, and then Frank Cresswell took me on, working with Harold. What was Harold in that little place called? Anyhow, they had this little experimental place with a K3 and a TL,
two-cylinder TL.
Yeah, and a J6. That's the man. Yes, I knew him. He was a great drinker. He could drink 8 pints while I drank 2. It's been a good life, though. I've enjoyed it.
Oh,
yeah. Well, did you stay with Mirrlees to the end, right to the end?
Yeah, I finished when I was 64.
Yes.
Because they offered me a redundancy, and I got more than ever worked.
Yeah.
I wasn't much point in working for the next 3 years.
No.
But I'd always wanted to work for 50 years.
Oh.
For 50 years.
Oh yes. But, yeah. That's it.
And I could have done that, and I only had to work a couple of months after I was 65. But I know I could have got away with that.
Could have done, yeah.
But
were you still in the erecting shop then?
No. After I came back from Jersey, and I think it had been...
Oh, the Jersey job, yeah.
I went
those AVs.
When I went from Canada, and then I went to Jersey.
Yeah. That was the one where you started it. Yeah.
Came back from Jersey, and not really got a job.
No.
Because it started somebody else's full-blown test.
Right, yes.
Because I was away. Anyway, I was given the job that I was still working in the works, but at that particular time we'd got more development engines on test beds than what was nowadays.
Yes, yeah. Because they had those, I went in once just for a walk round, and they got those enclosed test beds.
Well, so then I looked after all the development engines on test, which was the original K-Majors, the L short stroke engine, J's, all of them in sorts, J-Major. And then I eventually then became engine test superintendent overall test. And they started talking about building new test facilities. And nobody talked to me.
No. Didn't tell
So
you.
I went and had a go at works manager.
Yeah.
He said, there's all these lot you're talking to, and I've forgotten more about engine testing
than most of them knew. Yeah.
And he said, oh, don't worry, before long you'll be involved. So then he got a little bit further, that the board accepted it in principle.
Yes.
We're going to build these new test beds.
Yeah. This was board of who owned it?
Citadel.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So I sort of went out to test department, and it was special works project engineer, so bloody fancy title. And I was supposed to be designing and building these new test cells.
Yes.
Before we actually got started on the job, the plant engineer, who was supposed to be looking after all the building work and all, died. So overnight I became the building specialist as well.
Yes. Oh.
And the first thing the first thing I hadn't a clue where to start, was to, because of delivery times and what we wanted,
Yes. Yeah.
go and buy a 150 ton overhead crane.
Yes. Yeah.
Now where do you start, you know?
Yeah.
That was the first thing.
Mm.
And then we eventually built all the test beds, all the new test cells, and then I finished up actually in the plant department, and I never left the plant, stopped there,
Yeah.
and I went heating and ventilation,
Yeah.
all the test bed work, I still did all that.
I didn't get on with them, and then I went to Petters as a...
You found out, did you?
I was development engineer there, and they got this man John Smith in charge of everything, and I didn't know him, but somehow he took to me, and we became great mates.
Sleeping.
Yeah, we went. So I was a development engineer, and then my boss got a job with Cummins in America, so he left, and I got his job as senior development engineer, that's right, under the chief development engineer, man called Joe Joseph. And I fell out with him after a while, and I was looking for another job, and I wrote to Ford and that sort of thing. And then John Smith called me up to his office one day and said, "Now Ray, I've had a request for a CV, I don't know what you call it, from Ford's." He said, you wouldn't get on there, you wouldn't like Ford's, and we don't want to lose you. He said, we like to have you because you've got fire in your belly. I always remember that. He said, you've got fire in your belly. And he said, would you like, I know you fell out with Joe Joseph, would you like to move sideways a bit to go round him? So I said, yes. I was a bit low, you know, just a bit. And he said, a fortnight later, I became, what do they call me? Technical representative, no, technical engineer, something like that, for the European Union, for the 6 countries of the European Union as it was then, in charge of all technical sales.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was in charge of sales, complete.
Yeah.
It just wasn't, because there was nothing going on. And I started travelling. I went to France first, and learned French, and then I went to Italy and learned Italian. I went to Germany, went to Belgium and Holland and all that sort of thing. Travelled all the way around and selling all the time. Went to these exhibitions, and I was in Munich one time, an exhibition on there, and I went on this, there was a trade stand for a firm called Carnevali, Giorgio Carnevali, and I just mentioned Petters, you know. Oh, Mr. Carnevali happens to be here, he'd like to meet me. And I went in and I sold him 500 engines just like that in a matter of minutes. And he was putting in, he made water pumps,
Yeah.
and irrigation equipment. So he was putting petrol engines on and selling them into Libya, which there was a lot of business then. We got an agent in Libya anyhow. And it just went on like that. I couldn't go wrong. And then I had a heart attack. Oh, I was only 37. I had a heart attack. Nearly died. And so I had to give up that job. And John Smith gave me another job, just to add an office to myself, and ideas man. And I sort of thinking up ideas of new developments, of mixing one engine with another and things like that. And some of it was successful. And then finally I got this job with Sulzer, because by now I could speak German, you see. Yeah. And Sulzer wanted a man in London on the marine engine side. And I had 3 men working for me, and as ships came in, we'd get a request for somebody to go on board. Yeah. And I'd send one of my men on board these ships, and if they were all busy, I'd go and do it myself. Oh, and they were wonderful, lovely trips. You know, can you imagine? There was one trip, I went down to Falmouth overnight on the train, and then there was a tug on the front there waiting for me. It took me right out to sea, a long way out, and there was this ship with an 8-cylinder RD76 or 76
Yeah.
before, you know,
Yeah.
and something had gone wrong in it, and he staggered across the Atlantic, and all the inside the crankcase was full of diesel lube shit, basically, and they had to get a shore gang to dig all this stuff out and trying to find out what was wrong with the engine, why it was only running on 2 cylinders. Well, they had a rotary valve. It was 2-stroke, you know, they had rotary valves, and one of the connections had slipped. It took me 20 minutes to find the fault, you know, and they could have found it out while they were out at sea. I'm sure they could. Anyhow, I pointed it out to them, and it was late by now, and I went to bed in the pilot's cabin, you know, over the engine, over the generator flat. And next morning, chief engineer comes to me. We found the fault, and he showed me what I just showed him. They wouldn't allow that they couldn't find it themselves, you know, and that was quite common. They were Greeks, and they were nice with it though. But the Spaniards were worse, and they had trouble. They were Spanish. Canoco Britannia, Canoco España, great big tankers, yeah. And they had one of our generator engines had blown up, and straight away I thought they put one of the fuel pumps on the wrong way around, so it couldn't go to full fuel, and it was holding all the other ones on full fuel, but it just burst. £88,000 they wanted for a new engine. And they were trying to get away with saying it was our fault. But there you go. Oh, and what a job. That was a lovely job. And then Texaco bought me for money, and I didn't like it. I went into teaching, and that was a mistake. And then I was self-employed car mechanic for 9 years.
Oh, back to your motor car.
Back to my motor car, yes. And I'm still doing it now.
Yeah.
I've got a 1951 Sunbeam Talbot.
What did you have when you were at Mirrlees?
I had that little Ford, a Ford Anglia.
Didn't you have a Renault?
Yes, yeah, which I crashed. I had a Renault Dauphine, which was...
we went to London in it.
Did we?
To West Kent Sewage Works. Sure it was you and me that went in.
Could be. I don't remember that. But, and I had a Renault Dauphine, which I smashed up near the hanging gate up in the mountains in Hills there. And then I hired a little Renault 750 and smashed that as well. Oh dear, the insurance paid up. And then I had that nice little Ford Anglia, which, you know, womanising, dashing around the countryside. It's been a good life.
Yeah.
And now I'm still employed. I moved up to Ledbury when I was 65, and didn't know anybody. And the paper came through the door, and there was an advert in there, a course in wood carving. Now, anything different from what I've done? I thought I'd go and learn about wood carving, so I did some little things like that. And then they had a course on furniture making, so I went there and made myself a big bench and some tables and things. And then they wanted a technician, because they got a woman doing it and she wouldn't change saw blades and things like that. So I got the job, and I'm still employed there. I'm still, I do 8 hours a week at £7.30 an hour as technician in the woodwork and silversmithery and the pottery. And a lot of it's just cleaning, you know, but changing blades and ordering, do a lot of ordering and commissioning things.
Oh, God.
And it's lovely. I really do enjoy it. And I've just made a table and a table lamp, and brought it up to give it to Fiona there. She doesn't like it. I've got to take it out and make her something smaller and chunkier. And life is very good. I've had prostate cancer for 13 years, and it's getting toward the end. You know, I've got long to go. I don't care. Are you fit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a prostate operation.
You'd had
but
that,
it
yeah.
wasn't.
I should have had
It
that.
wasn't cancerous at all.
No, I should have had the operation in 1999. I was on the list for the operation, and then I moved, and the new hospital wouldn't do it. Too far gone, he said. And you know about that treatment now for all those years, and all the side effects. You know, they keep injecting me with female hormones. I'm growing boobs now. But it's good, it's lovely.
No, we've just that brother of Engine just round it.
Yes, I'm looking at that. Yeah.
We've run it before. It was all in bits in a terrible state.
Yeah.
But we have run it before. But where the road trouble started, mainly because it was very cold.
Yes, yeah. And it's a hot bulb engine, is it?
No, it's a sleeve valve.
Yeah. A what valve?
Sleeve valve.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
Anyway, we decided we've had some apprentices working here. They come from a firm called Energy, spelt in a peculiar sort of way.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a firm in Manchester, and what they do, they build up combined sets.
Yes. Yeah.
On the basis generators, and that's what they sell. I think the majority of the employees, from top to bottom, are actually
Yeah. They got degrees in management or something.
I don't know what they have, but it seems to be going very well, this company.
Yeah.
Anyway, they decided they'd send one of their apprentices every Tuesday. And there was 3 or 4 of them that came on a rota basis.
Yes.
And they did well, I'm working on that engine.
Oh, right.
Anyway, the chairman of the company, who apparently lives in Jersey, well, he comes every now and again, just to take the money back with him, I think.
Right, yeah.
And he decided he would like to come and see this engine. His lads have been working on it. And we're supposed to go and give us a donation as well,
Yes,
which is the main thing.